Game starts with a scene of a boat named Medusa approaching a tropical island. Gore jumps on the motorjet and heads towards the island, while someone is firing an RPG from the distance and blows up the boat. The guy that was left on the boat falls into the water. While in it, he has weird flashbacks like falling into a volcano or being surrounded by mutants and chased through the jungle until he jumps into the water and mercenaries who were firing guns at him throw a grenade into the sea and the explosion traps him in an underwater cave. Soon man wakes up and turns out it's not an ordinary cave but more like a remains of an abandoned facility. He finds a way out and spots two men talking inside, and this weird cameo between Serious Sam and Kid Rock tells the other one to look for a guy in a red Hawaiian shirt. Soon the red shirt finds a satellite phone connecting to a guy named Doyle, who tells him he will help him find a way out. Red shirt introduces him as Jack Craver. Jack finds a gun, and with Doyle's help, he gets out and finds some equipment in the nearby beach houses. Jack sneaks into a nearby mercenary camp and steals a vehicle. Doyle tells him there is an old carrier refueling station on the island left by the Japanese army during the World War, and Jack finds it and makes his way to the top of the ship. Doyle tells him to look for Val, so I guess she is the woman we saw in the intro. Jack finds only her camera and documents lying around. He informs Doyle that there is also a video file of a guy named Kriger. It shows a press conference convincing that this island is a perfect place for research. Jack overhears that they are taking Val to what they call the bunker. Doyle tells him to find a boat. When Jack finds one, Doyle tells him to disturb the mercenaries' communication. Jack goes to the part of the island where they have a huge satellite dish installed. He manages to get inside. There he finds a control room with Kriger appearing on monitors saying that the subjects are demonstrating superhuman qualities, but they are unstable and difficult to control. So he will use his own DNA as a carrier, hoping this will somehow link them to him and make him able to control them. Jack finds a demolition puck and uses it to destroy the satellite dish. Doyle sets a meeting point. Jack gets there with another stolen vehicle and secures the area from the mercenaries as Doyle insists on protecting his identity and doesn't want to be spotted by anyone. He arrives with a motorboat and takes him to the other part of the island. He can travel freely through the island, but he tells Jack to hide so mercenaries won't see him. He points where they keep prisoners, but the only way to get to the bunker is through the research facilities. Inside, Jack spots one of the mercenaries being chased and killed by a mutant. So this is what Trigger mentioned earlier. Doyle guides Jack to the research facility. On the way, Jack overhears some conversation proving that mercenaries are losing control over the subject of Krieger's experiments. And there's already a bloodbath going on in the upper levels. Soon Jack finds a Trident dead body. Doyle explains those are the subject of Krieger's search. He also tells Jack to find scientists because they will know where Val is kept. He tells them a scientist named Jerry Spatzik sent a mayday. He's trapped in a room surrounded by Tridents. Jack reaches Jerry, but he's already dead. Good news, he gets his access card, and this guy is high level. Mercenaries send reinforcements to the facility, so Jack must get out of there quickly as he is now hunted by both humans and Tridents. He steals a jeep and gets to the bunker where they keep Val, but before he is able to get in, she is already being transported to a chopper. He quickly finds his way through the bunker and reaches the airport. When he reaches the chopper, he spots Valerie and tries to help her, but he is just a little too late and the machine is already in the air. Jack runs at it and manages to grab a wheel. He gets spotted, but Val kicks off one of the mercenaries. She manages to get the gun, but during the shootout, the pilot gets killed, so they must jump before the chopper crashes. They fall into the sea, and the next thing we see is Val getting out from the water and introducing herself as a CIA agent. Jack didn't know that, while he was giving her a boat ride, but Val tells she picked him on purpose as he is an ex-Special Forces. Then she explained that CIA has an undercover operative on the island, but they lost contact. Turns out it's Doyle. He tells Val to keep moving and release some Tridents from the cages to keep security busy. Jack sneaks and finds a regulator facility while Val breaks into Krieger's archives. Jack increases the pressure on pipe junctions. Then he reverses the main flow, making the regulator go kaboom. Power is down and all Tridents are free to leave their cages. Some of them were already after combat training so they can handle a gun. Creatures take over the island and Val tells Jack through the radio that those are not just mutated animals, but also there are mutated humans among them. Jack tries to reach Val, approaching some armed Trojans on his way, including some really big ones. So he gets near the archives and there is a battle between mercenaries and Trojans. Jack uses that distraction to pass by and get to the building. Inside, there are many test subjects running free and also some special teams reinforcements hunting for them, but they are also aware about the red shirt guy situation, so Jack has to be extra careful. At one point he gets stuck, so he needs to flood the mutagen main chamber to swim up to the next section. That way he manages to reach Val. Doyle reports he tried to bring help from outside, but Kriger has set up an electromagnetic field blocking transmissions. It needs to be taken down. Val figures since she is already near Kriger's main compound, she wants to go investigate and try to shut it down. They destroy all the transmitters in the area, but it turns out that it didn't work. Doyle suspects there must be a backup somewhere. Jack soon finds a boat near the island that contains backup transmitters. He sneaks on board and plants some explosives. Doyle reports that Kroll, you know the guy from the beginning that looks like Kid Rock mixed with Serious Sam. Jack uses an RPG to damage the machine, but Kroll manages to escape and Doyle tells Jack that there's no time right now to chase him down. First, they need to reach the PDA containing critical information. Doyle picks up Jack and drops him in the jungle. He uses explosives to blow open what appears to be an ancient temple. Turns out the place is full of Trojans and mercenaries are using nerve gas on them, so Jack has to be double careful. He steals a PDA and heads for the river, where he finds a boat and uses it to go down the river to hunt down Kroll. Soon he gets close to his position. Jack takes him down using a sniper rifle and tells Kriger, who was on the phone with Kroll, that he is coming for him. He connects the PDA to the computer on the truck, uploading the important intel. Val shows up and searches Kroll's body, finding the location of the facility where they produce the mutagen. Then they walk together until Val decides to take a shower in a nearby waterfall. She also uses the moment to explain to Jack that Kriger was a top researcher in the defense department, specializing in genetics. He was working on the Trojans and was fired when Army intelligence busted him on an unproved human testings, so he went working for the private sector. CIA sent Doyle to work as his lab assistant to keep their eye on him. Later, Val and Jack decide to steal a small nuke from the mercenaries' camp. Jack clears the way while Val does the hacking part. Soon they find an arming device and the nuke itself. They attach the nuke into the forklift and drive it inside the compound. Doyle warns them that strange things might happen after the nuke explodes, so he recommends they find the serum in the compound before blowing it up. The serum should prevent them from being affected by the mutagen after the explosion. Val tells Jack to prepare the nuke and go after the serum. They put the forklift inside the facility and go down to the underground section, placing it at the core of this place. Then they go to the lab and find serum. Val gets a little paranoid, but she lets Jack inject her. Then both of them flight their way outside the lab right before it explodes. Jack passes away, and when he wakes up, he is on Kriger's chopper. Kriger shows him the island taken over by Trojans. One of his men kicks Jack off the chopper straight into the jungle, and God knows why. They drop him an M16. Now, why would they do that? But soon he finds a wrecked chopper and a communicator that reaches Doyle. He guides Jack through the escape route, but the island is filled with Trojans. At one point, Jack spots that his arm is turning green. He tells Doyle what happened, and he says that the leak could have saturated the air with mutagen. Doyle tells him that the same thing happened to Kriger, and he has a solution for this, so Jack goes after him. He finds a way to Kriger's lab. Turns out Kriger is there along with Val. Kriger is already mutated enough to qualify for the next WrestleMania, and Val's skin also turns green. Kriger starts shooting at Jack, but since he gives absolutely zero fucks about aiming, Jack manages to hide, and the duel begins. Kriger gets defeated and Jack tries to find out where is the Kriger explains that he had no time to prepare the serum and dies, telling Jack to enjoy his last hour before he turns Trojant. Then Doyle appears as a hologram and turns out he's playing both sides. Well, actually, he's playing one side, his side. Now, since Jack killed Kriger, all the mutants treat as their father, they will hunt down Jack, while Doyle can just take the mutagen and sell it on the black market. Jack decides to go after Doyle before he leaves the island. He hides Val in a safe place, and when he opens the door, it turns out the lab is already surrounded by Trigens. Jack manages to break through them and finds Doyle in the facility on the other side of the bridge. Defeated Doyle explained that he had no choice and blah blah something about working for those who are always watching. Jack just shoots him in the head, and the whole place starts exploding as the volcano located on the island is erupting right now. Jack escapes and goes back to Val. He manages to get both of them on a boat, and turns out he also found the serum. He injects Val and she gets back to her human form. When Val wakes up later, she spots some files titled Project Far Cry, and that's how the game ends.